This video is sponsored by Shortboxed, the easiest and safest way to buy and sell graded comic books. Download the app today using the link in the description. Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we are going to take some time to talk about some blue ocean books. And if you don't know, blue ocean books are those that are below the radar, the books that people are not necessarily paying attention to for one reason or another. And as part of that, one of the criteria that we use to identify blue ocean books is, are they contained in Key Collector app? And if you're familiar, Key Collector app is an amazing app for identifying the significance of comics that are out there. This is an app that I use pretty much every single day and oftentimes multiple times across a day. But when something is in Key Collector app, it is essentially on the radar. So what we try to do is to find books that have some potential that are not on anyone's radar. And we try to bring some attention to those books. Now, despite the title of this video, we are not necessarily saying go out and buy these books, but we're saying, hey, here's a cool book that you might want to be interested in. And if the rationale that we present in this video resonates with you and resonates with the research that you do, then you may want to pick them up, or you may want to look in your long boxes to see whether you already have these books. And we've been pretty successful over the last year or so in identifying some amazing books, and very thankful to my partner Doug for doing all the research for this video and allowing me to release this content to you. With that said, let's get to the list. Book number one is Kabuki issue number 1, a one-shot from David Mack. And this book was published by Caliber Press in 1994. As mentioned, Kabuki issue number 1 is a one-shot written and illustrated by award-winning comic book artist David Mack. And Mack may be best known for his co-creation of the character Echo in Daredevil, who recently joined the MCU, as well as his work on Jessica Jones, both the comic and also the Netflix series, which won an Emmy. David Mack's creator-owned series Kabuki, about a masked female assassin set in Japan, launched his career and remains popular almost 30 years later. This book was also published by Image and Dark Horse and Marvel. There is absolutely no reason to believe that Kabuki is going to be coming to a big or small screen at any point. Let me be super clear about that. There is no data that suggests that, but you never know. And if nothing happens from a movie or TV perspective, this is not a bad book to actually add to your collection if you happen to be a fan of David Mack, or if you happen to be a fan of creator-owned publications. I should also add that this is the first professional work by an acclaimed artist, as well as the first appearance of an independent character who is still headlining comics almost 30 years after her creation. And it makes me believe that this under-the-radar book is worth picking up if you can find it relatively inexpensively, and also if it's not already in a long box or two. Cover price has a current raw sales average of $8.10, and the highest recorded sale of a CGC 9.8 sits at $290. Currently, there are only 24 copies of this comic listed on the CGC census, with 5 copies graded a 9.8 or higher. Book number 2 is Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, published by Marvel Comics in 1977. A couple of years ago, the Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 9 leapt onto the radar of comic book speculators with the casting announcement that many believe would lead to the White Tiger appearing in the MCU. While this speculation seems unlikely to happen in the near future, as most believe the casting announcement points to Namor, not the White Tiger, a light was cast upon an important and under-recognized character, that being the White Tiger, the first character in Marvel Comics of Hispanic descent. White Tiger was first introduced in the magazine The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu issue number 19, created partially by George Perez, who recently passed away. Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 10 features the second comic book appearance of this important character. As seasoned collectors are aware, When first appearances become expensive, collectors often turn their attention to second appearances, first solo comic appearances, origin stories, and also first cover appearances. Given the historical significance of White Tiger, as well as renewed attention to characters created by George Perez, this under-the-radar second comic book appearance seems like a solid book to add to your collection. Current raw sales average for this comic sit at $5.31 with a CGC 9.8 high sale of only $119.99. I should also point out that there is a regional price variant of this book as well. There is a 35-cent variant out there, so if you happen to come across one, this might be a really awesome book to pick up as there are not a ton of these out there. The third book on the list is an awesome one. I have to tell you, I actually found this entire series in the 100K collection a couple of years ago. I had no clue what it was when I first came across it, but I was pleasantly surprised. With that said, book number 3 is Captain Victory and the Galactic Rangers issue number 1, published by Pacific Comics in 1981. Captain Victory and the Galactic Rangers was a comic book series created, written, and illustrated by the legendary Jack Kirby. Pacific Comics, a fledgling independent publisher, didn't last long but had a significant impact on the comics world, in part due to the higher quality comics that they produced and in part because they allow creators to own their creations. The second fact is what lured one of the greatest creators of all time away from Marvel and DC and to Pacific Comics. And of course, I'm talking about Jack King Kirby. The Captain Victory series lasted for about 3 years, and Jack Kirby hinted at connections between the characters in this comic and those that were contained in New Gods comics for DC. These hints included a character that was in the shadows of Captain Victory that resembled Darkseid, and a final issue that suggested that Captain Victory himself was the son of Orion of the New Gods. I will tell you for a fact that if you take the time to read this comic and if you look closely at the images, you will see that there is a tremendous amount of similarity between Captain Victory and the Eternals and also the New Gods. The style of art is very similar. The facial expressions are very similar. And I personally thought that Captain Victory was directly connected to the Eternals. He looks like Icarus to me. This is a great series by a legendary creator. And again, if nothing happens with the value of this book, this is just an awesome book or awesome series, honestly, to have in your collection because of the historical significance that is attached to this book. The sales average for raw copies of this comic are only $4.13, less than the cover price of most comics today. The highest graded CGC 9.8 is going for $109.99. So again, not a tremendous amount of money in any way, shape, or form. And as I mentioned, the title has some historical significance. So one of the things that we want to point out here is that there are a lot of amazing comics out there that have been released over time. And even though these books may not show up as a key, they may not be featured in an app, they may not show up in a video, that doesn't mean that they are not awesome books to have in one's collection. There is a lot of history, a lot of amazing art, a lot of fantastic stories that are being told in these comics that, again, don't necessarily get the attention that they deserve. So if you come across them in a long box, in a dollar bin, why not pick them up? Why not enjoy them? With that said, we are going to wrap this video up. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.